Hello, parents. This is Miss Jones and your volunteer training screencast. So, if you can see here, first and foremost, there's a QR code on the screen. That'll link you directly to our volunteer sign up Google form. If you are going to volunteer in our building, we welcome you and welcome to Central Middle School to our new first time sixth grade parents. So, I'm going to start by saying you might be a little apprehensive to volunteer in a middle school. I think most parents who are coming in as new feel that way. They're like, oh my gosh, I helped at the elementary school, but what can I do to help at the middle school? Well, I'm going to tell you, all the research shows that it is more important that you stay connected, stay volunteering, and be a visible presence for your children in middle school to help create success not only for your student, but for other kids at Central Middle School as well. So, we want you to know you are welcome. We want to see our parents here during the school day and be a vital part of our school life. So, welcome. Make sure you sign up for the training and sign off on the Google form so we can get you entered into our system and ready to volunteer. So the first and foremost, our goals and roles for our volunteers at Central Middle School is that volunteers are here to just help provide a positive relationship with staff and students, just to be a supporting role. Being a middle school student is hard, and being a middle school teacher is hard. So our volunteers that are in the building, you're here to just be a positive light and be a good influence on both staff and students. And then our volunteers are here to creatively share their talents to support our students, staff, and teachers. So we need your creativity to help us make a great school. So how do I start? You heard me say a little bit of this at the beginning of the screencast, but before you can volunteer, you must review this video. And then the second thing you need to do is to sign off on the Google adherence form that this video is linked to. And that's all you got to do to get started. So, what are some of the volunteer opportunities available at Central Middle School? We invite parents to help chaperone field trips. We've also got some opportunities. It says Flex Friday, but we do goal getter celebrations every 9 weeks. And so we often need parents to help volunteer to facilitate those things, assisting any of our teachers with classroom tasks such as bulletin boards, displays, different things that we need help with there. Our PTSO is a huge active member in our school, both during and after school, with many different events. Our media center would always love to have volunteers, and so would our front office. Any of our clubs and activities. Our PTO also facilitates the PBIS store every 9 weeks, so we'd love to have you come and help our students shop each 9 weeks. And then also monthly Kona Ice comes to Central Middle School, so we need parents to help volunteer to run our Kona Ice purchasing. So, as you can see, there's lots of different ways for parents to utilize their talents and to become involved at Central Middle School. So, what are our code of ethics? So, you're here, you're watching the screencast, you want to volunteer. So, what are some important things that you need to know before you come into the building? First and foremost, the most important thing for a volunteer is confidentiality. So, this includes confidentiality about student performance, student behavior if you were to oversee a student who is having a hard time, conversations you might hear amongst our staff members, any concerns you have with teachers or staff or incidences with students, any health or medical issues or information that you might view when you're here volunteering during the school day. So, if you're a volunteer, you are also volunteering to be confidential and make sure that you aren't out repeating things that are not um, the business of other people to hear. Also, you need to understand that as a volunteer, you're part of our educational team. So, when it comes to children, teachers, or any of that information that is confidential, it should remain in our school setting. Volunteers shall also maintain the dignity necessary to gain the respect of students and to set a good example at all times. So, especially amongst preteens and teenagers who are kind of growing into themselves, we want all of our volunteers in the building to set the example and to be a good role model of the values and the mission and vision of what we're instilling here at Central Middle School. Another important part of our volunteer code of ethics is that you are also volunteering to be a mandated reporter. So you can see, I'm not going to read the whole slide to you, but who must report by definition of Georgia law is any person employed or volunteering within the organization. So that would be you. If you're here volunteering, you are automatically a part of our mandated reporter program. So, what should you report? Well, it would be anything that Georgia would require to be considered suspected child abuse. So, if you see something that just doesn't click right with you, remember it is not your job to investigate, but it is your job to report. So, when must you report? You need to make sure you do that within 24 hours within the time where you saw the behavior or the information came to you or whatever. Within 24 hours of that, you need to let somebody know. So, who do you report this to? So, let's say you're here volunteering and you see a student or you overhear a conversation that concerns you. Who would you report this to? Well, you can see I've listed there 5 different adults who are the primary contacts for mandated reporting. Myself, the principal, I'm one of them. Miss Bonner and Mr. Yates are assistant principals. Miss Cochran, our school counselor, and Miss Yates, our school counselor, are all designated staff members on site that you can report any suspicion of child abuse to. Also, let's say it happens at the end of the day and people are gone and you can't find one of the 5 of us. You'll see down there underlined is the DFACS hotline. The number for that is 1-855 GA child. So if you ever feel uncomfortable reporting to us or anybody, you could report to that hotline. So why must you report this? Because knowingly and willfully we failing to report suspected abuse is a misdemeanor, and so we need to protect our children. And so if you come into our building as part of our educational team, we do expect you to help us keep our students safe. All right, what are volunteering responsibilities? So, as a volunteer, it's important to know that you are also, again, just a role model for our kids in good values, good ethics, good language, professional attitude, being prompt and dependable, and keeping our buildings safe. So, teachers expect and students will expect to see you with your volunteering name badge on that you get when you come in through the building, and then make sure you just have that displayed on you at all times. But then also, you can see there in the last, most importantly, allow teachers to handle discipline. So if there is an issue between 2 students or something, you just need to report that to a staff member to handle. So, what are our procedures? So, I am going to go through these one at a time. When you volunteer, like I just said, the first thing you need to do is check in at our front office with Miss Kelly. She'll get you signed in and get you a volunteer sticker. You will need a photo ID with you when you do sign in. The other thing, there is no dress code for the adults in our building, but like we said earlier in the screencast, we do want you to be a good role model for our students. So please follow the dress code established for our students when you can. Another important procedure is do not interrupt instructional time. So you will be here volunteering, but it is not okay to peek your head in your students' classroom to say hello or to ask them how they're getting home in the afternoon. Please, if you're here volunteering, we need to allow our teachers to teach and our students to learn. So do not interrupt instructional time. Also, we have adult restrooms located in the front office by our registrar's office, and then there's also an adult restroom on each hallway. So we ask that you use those facilities instead of the student restrooms. And then also, no outside food or drink is allowed in our cafeteria. We know if you're here volunteering, you might run to Chick-fil-A and get yourself a quick bite to eat. That is totally okay, but we would ask that you eat that Chick-fil-A either in the PTO room, which is the den, or somewhere outside of our cafeteria, as that is not an allowable rule within federal lunch guidelines. And then, last but not least, if you're here putting up a bulletin board, helping us decorate for something, and you have to use a ladder, please make sure that you aren't standing in a chair and that you use proper ladder procedures. If you happen to be injured while you're on campus, please make sure to let Miss Gwen Gunnels know of your injury so we can report that and document it. Last but not least, you'll see at the bottom of this Google form is what we call our Central Middle School Confidentiality Pledge. Please make sure you take a minute to read that over. I'm not going to read it to you, but when you sign off and you adhere to being a volunteer here, you'll see the different things that you're pledging to help us make this the best school community and safe classroom experience that we can. All right. Parents, thank you so much for signing up to volunteer. Um, I'll tell you, when we started our PTO and volunteer program, um, in the summer of 2021, it was our dream to get parents in our building and to have you here as a part of creating a better middle school experience for our kids. So you can see on the slide, I've got my swag hat on. Um, I want your child's school to be the best that it can be, and I cannot do that without a team and a community there to help us. To promote this effort for both our teachers and students. And our volunteers are the backbone of that. So we couldn't thank you enough for helping us make Central Middle School great. So thank you, and we look forward to seeing you in the halls at CMS.